He hit my grandma, the child cried. The bikers parked right outside his door. The wind howled that evening as a little boy, no older than 7, ran barefoot through the rain-soaked streets. His tiny hands clutched a torn teddy bear, his face streaked with tears and mud. He kept repeating one sentence between sobs, "He hit my grandma, he hit my grandma." A few meters away, under the neon glow of a small roadside diner, a group of bikers had just parked their roaring Harleys. Tattoos, leather jackets, and the thunder of engines usually made people cross the street when they saw them. But tonight, something changed when that trembling little boy stumbled into their world. The biggest of them, a tall man with a thick beard and a scar down his cheek, known as Tank to his brothers, knelt in front of the boy. "What's wrong, kid?" he asked gently, his rough voice softening. The boy hiccuped, his lips trembling. He hit my grandma, she fell down, and he locked the door. "I can't get in." The bikers glanced at one another. In their world, there were certain lines no man should ever cross, and hitting a woman, let alone someone's grandmother, was one of them. Tank stood up, his jaw tightening. "Where's your house, little man?" The boy pointed down the road. "That way, white house with a red door." And just like that, the engines roared back to life. By the time they reached the house, the rain had turned into a downpour. The boy ran ahead, slipping on the muddy path, while the bikers dismounted one by one, boots splashing in puddles. The small wooden house looked worn out, the paint peeling, the front yard filled with broken furniture. Behind the curtains, a shadow moved. Tank motioned for his crew to stay quiet. He walked up to the door and knocked, once, twice. No answer. Then a man's voice shouted from inside, "Go away. This is private property." Tank's expression darkened. "Private property?" he muttered. He knocked again, louder this time, his fist shaking the fragile door. "Open up, or I'll make it public." Inside, the man cursed and yelled, "I told you," before the door swung open. He was a tall, unshaven drunk, his shirt half-buttoned, his eyes red from rage and alcohol. "What do you want?" he spat. Tank didn't say a word. The little boy stepped from behind him and shouted, "That's him. He hit Grandma." For a moment, no one moved. Then Tank pushed past the man, entering the living room. On the floor, near a fallen chair, lay an elderly woman with gray hair and bruises on her cheek. She was conscious but weak, whispering, "Don't hurt him, he's just angry." Tank knelt beside her, his face softening. "Ma'am, we're here to help," he said. "You're gonna be okay." He turned toward his crew. "Call an ambulance." The man tried to intervene, shouting, "Get out of my house." But before he could take another step, one of the bikers, a silent, broad-shouldered man named Ridge, blocked his path. "You should sit down," Ridge said calmly. "You've done enough." The man glared at them, but the look in their eyes made him freeze. These weren't men who played games. These were men who protected their own. The ambulance arrived minutes later, sirens cutting through the storm. The bikers stayed until the paramedics carried the old woman out on a stretcher. The little boy clung to her hand, whispering, "Don't leave me, Grandma." Tank placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "She's strong, kid. Stronger than she looks." When the ambulance left, the bikers stood there in the rain, watching the flashing lights fade into the distance. The drunk man was now sitting on the porch steps, sobbing silently. Tank walked over and crouched down in front of him. "You know what's worse than being hated, man?" he said. "Being the reason a child cries like that." The man didn't respond, just buried his face in his hands. Tank sighed and stood up. "Fix yourself. Or next time, you won't be so lucky." The bikers turned to leave, their boots splashing through puddles, the engines growling back to life. The little boy ran after them. "Wait," he shouted. "Will I ever see you again?" Tank smiled faintly. "You'll see us whenever someone needs help, little man. That's what we do." He handed the boy a small patch from his vest. It was a symbol of their club, a black wolf with a crimson eye. "Keep this. It means you've got a pack watching over you." The boy clutched it tightly, his tears mixing with the rain. "Thank you." The bikes roared off into the night, disappearing down the road. But the sound stayed with him, a promise that not all heroes wear suits or badges. Some wear leather and carry the roar of justice in their engines. Weeks passed. The old woman, Mrs. Hensley, recovered slowly at the hospital. The bruises faded, but her spirit didn't. Every day, her grandson Tommy would sit by her bed, holding that biker patch, telling her about Tank and the wolves. When she was finally discharged, the local police had already taken her abuser, Tommy's stepfather, into custody. The officers had received multiple reports from neighbors after the biker's visit. Turns out, that night changed more than one life. One evening, as the sun dipped below the hills, a distant rumble echoed through the small town. Tommy's face lit up instantly. "Grandma, it's them," he shouted, running to the porch. Tank and his crew rolled into view, engines low, headlights bright against the orange sunset. They parked right outside the same house where it all began, but this time, laughter replaced the silence. Tank removed his helmet and grinned. "Heard someone's back home." Mrs. Hensley smiled warmly from her chair. "I owe you boys more than I can ever repay." Tank shook his head. "You don't owe us anything, ma'am. You raised a brave little man. That's worth more than all the thanks in the world." Tommy ran up to Tank and hugged him tightly. The big man froze for a second, surprised, then gently patted the boy's back. "You're growing strong, kid. Keep it that way." From that day on, the bikers became part of the small town's quiet legends. They'd stop by every few weeks, fixing fences, delivering groceries, helping single moms, and checking on the elderly. People no longer crossed the street when they saw them, they waved. And every time Tommy heard the distant thunder of engines, he'd smile, knowing the sound wasn't something to fear anymore. It was the sound of people who cared. Years later, when Tommy grew up and started working as a mechanic, he hung that same biker patch on the wall of his shop. Beneath it, he painted the words Tank once told him, "Real strength isn't how hard you hit, it's how hard you protect." And every time a lost soul walked through his door, Tommy remembered that rainy night, when the bikers parked right outside his door, and everything changed forever.